Because keys are such an important aspect of managing Bitcoin, and because custodial control and counterparty risk are so crucial to holding Bitcoin for the long term, organizations sometimes apply the wrong rubric when they attempt to think about partners or custodians for their coins. They think about social validation. They think about Morningstar ratings. They think about SOC audits. They think about brand reputation and market capitalization, and whether they golf or do not golf with the executives at that particular custodian. This is a great way to think about traditional assets because traditional assets are so moored in social control and consensus that being part of that social set is exactly what provides you with the relationships you need to get the security you want. Because Bitcoin doesn't work that way, those kinds of questions are less meaningful. It is still true that an audited company is better than an unaudited one. It is still true that a big brand is probably better than a small brand and probably safer and more capable of working with a large institution. It is still true that insurance and regulatory clarity and all these things still matter. We're a US-based company that deeply cares about the same indicators of reputational reliance that every other financial institution cares about. I think the last 18 months have taught us that the failure of institutions is something that can happen. We have seen major US banks fall down and capitulate, go bankrupt, be out of business, and in some cases lose customer deposits or put them on awkward holds for a long period of time. No one wants to be in that situation with respect to Bitcoin. And so it is very important that you ask a custodian, what is your plan for if and when you disappear or are unavailable or cannot be accessed, how do I get to my Bitcoin? Most custodians will not have an answer for you because they didn't think that you would ask such a perceptive question. When you ask that question at Unchained, we will give you a very concrete answer. Here is what you will do. You will follow this procedure. You will reach out to these other participants. If you hold your own keys, which you can do or not do in a great extent depending on your capabilities Unchained, you will use those keys to recover your Bitcoin. Bitcoin is often described as a triple entry accounting system. When you work with Unchained, your coins are not just living inside of a private ledger within our systems. They're directly on the blockchain, and that's a public record that you can also check, verify, and then independently interact with and use should you need to. No other business, I think, thinks as deeply about these issues of continuity and recovery as Unchained. And that's partly because we are building systems that we ourselves believe in. We use as employees. I myself am a client of Unchained, historically one of the very first clients, as you may imagine. Unchained uses our own technology to custody our own corporate treasury. And we also care about these issues. We ask ourselves, if we were to fail, how can we make sure each of our employees' Bitcoin wouldn't be affected, that our own corporate treasury would not be impacted by the failure of some subsystem in our stack? Bitcoin is great power and great responsibility put together. And asking some of these questions up front, I think, avoids a lot of problems downstream. When you realize that despite playing golf with the CEO of that exchange, despite the SOC audits, despite the 5-star ratings from various regulators and risk managers, your Bitcoin are still gone. There are tools and technologies and methodologies you can employ that prevent those kinds of outcomes. And those are the questions you should be asking. And again, the first and most important one is, what will I do to get access to my Bitcoin if and when you disappear? I think a second question that's important to ask a custodian is, out of the 100 assets that you are trying to sell me on your platform, how many of them do you hold in your own corporate treasury? Why are you selling me things that you wouldn't touch with a 10-foot pole? Unchained only works with Bitcoin, because Bitcoin is the only asset that we think truly has longevity, sustainability, and a robust chance of becoming the world's money. Bitcoin is the only asset we hold in our own corporate treasury. As a result, Bitcoin is the only asset we would ever be willing to expose our clients to. We are not interested in adding an arbitrary number of terrible, unsustainable Ponzi coins just because we want our clients to trade them, just because we want to inflate our assets under management and earn more fees. That is not the way we would treat ourselves, our employees, our own treasury, and it's not the way we treat clients. So ask your custodian, why are you offering me these coins you don't believe in? How much of your engineering effort goes into supporting these coins you don't believe in? Do you think it is smart for me to buy these coins and hold them with you, even though you don't do that yourself? And I think the third question that deserves to be asked is, can you move my assets without my permission? Can you prevent me from moving my assets? For most custodians, the answer is always yes, of course we can. We're the custodian. That's what you pay us for. You pay us to protect you by being the ones who decide who gets to move these assets. In a traditional space, that's an acceptable answer. But in Bitcoin, with its hard edges and its emphasis on private key management and no takebacks, this is a very dangerous answer. If coins can be moved without your participation, then you don't have as much control over this asset class as you think you do. If you can be blocked from accessing your Bitcoin holdings, then you aren't leveraging the full power and capabilities of Bitcoin. You're treating it like a traditional asset when it's just not. At Unchained, that is not possible. We have designed our systems so that we can never move your assets without your participation or the participation of other parties that you have delegated specifically that responsibility to. Conversely, we can never, as a single company, prevent you or your chosen collaborators from moving your Bitcoin independent of our platform. This is extremely important, not just because of reasons of sovereignty or philosophical arguments about who should be in control, because of very practical concerns around attack vectors. If one company, one custodian, one exchange, sometimes one person or a team can cause your Bitcoin to move or prevent them from moving, well, now I know who I need to attack. And if the answer is there is no such entity, there's no such person, you would have to go attack so many other entities around the globe. So many people would find out that this attack was in progress, that you would be caught. Well then, as an attacker, I would go attack someone else. And that's exactly the position you want to be in.